Part 47. In Part 43, we looked at walking the attacker and how it can be helpful, if needed, for various reasons. This technique looks at another way to do it. Using the wrist to restrain is an easy way to hold or control someone if needed, especially if the hand is offered. But it's like catching a bird in mid-flight. When he offers his hand to me, I step out of the way to the side and catch his wrist with my thumb on the inside. The thumb is pressed and this unlocks his hand, which allows me to bend the wrist. I lift my arm and put his hand behind his shoulder. Pressure must be applied at all times on his folded wrist. Time to go for a walk. This movement is quick and relatively simple, but there are things that can go wrong, so let's see that again in more detail. Here we see the attacker punch towards my face. I use this to my advantage and step to the side as I match his exact speed, raising my arm. I catch his wrist with my fingers at the top and my thumb placed on the tendons on the inside part of his wrist. My other arm rises above his waist as a precautionary measure. Nothing an attacker does will be fixed in a set pattern. They could do anything at any time, and it's important to understand this. Let's say I didn't catch his wrist on time. Then what? What will he do? You never know. So it's a great idea to be cautious always. On a positive note, when a person learns every technique in this series in order, then the what-ifs start to disappear at each step as they progress. When I catch his arm, I don't apply pressure or stop his momentum. Instead, I use the technique of guiding, which you can learn more about in Part 1 and 2 if you haven't already. His arm has to extend for this to work, the more the better. When the arm is closer to their body, a lot more resistance can be applied. But as we extend it, the tendons stretch out, making them easier to access and manipulate. Once the arm is extended, as it's still in motion, before reaching its end point, the wrist must be captured. To do this correctly, the attacker's tendons must be deactivated. Here, my thumb is used to apply pressure on the tendons on the inside of his wrist. My fingers are on the top and my palm is on the back of his hand. I fold his wrist back, which bends his elbow. When folding the wrist back, it's best not to get it wrong. The elbow could hit our face if we do. His hand is placed above his shoulder until his back bends. I hold the wrist in position, which locks his arm in place. His weight applies the pressure to keep him continuously fighting between keeping his balance and reducing pain by complying with my direction. The attacker can be moved around with the locked arm or held in place with the palm of the other hand on his back. If you enjoy this video, please click the like button, consider subscribing, leave a comment, and if you know someone that can find this useful, please share it with them. Until next time, the difficult task of catching a bird in flight can only be achieved with stillness of mind.